Here we are with Klingon Pop Warrior, and I am so glad to talk to you tonight. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. I apologize. It's a weeknight, and I am not in garb, but I do have my little lady here in the background, my costume and stuff. So
Quite all right, quite all right. We got our little mascots here too. So, okay, so I really have been a fan of yours for a good long time. I love the idea, and it's one of the things I love about this fandom is it makes such creativity. So, how did this all come about? Can you give me a little background?
yeah. So I started. My background is theater. And I had friends who ran a theater company in the Twin Cities, and they were getting ready to move to Chicago, where I had just moved back to Chicago. I lived up in the Twin Cities, and they were bringing their hit show from the Twin Cities to Chicago, A Klingon Christmas Carol. And I always loved quirky theater. I actually was not a big Star Trek fan. This was around 2009, 2010. But I love weird, wonderful theater. And so the next thing I know, I am in this show. I am learning the Klingon language, and I am falling head over heels in love with Star Trek fandom. And it kind of, I really feel like I kind of came at it all backwards. Like I fell in love with this play that I was in, and then I am doing, learning the language. And then I'm meeting fans and Klingon fans, and I'm watching Klingon-centric episodes to study for the play, and I'm falling in love with Klingons. And then the next thing I know, it's 8 years later, and I have this crazy project. I sang in covers bands for a number of years. I did a Klingon Christmas Carol for 2 years, and then in 2013, I got recruited because of my friend who created a Klingon Christmas Carol. He said, hey, the Improvised Star Trek Podcast needs someone who can sing in Klingon. And he's like, and I immediately thought of you, because they need someone to sing Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer. And so it was supposed to just be a background thing for the podcast. It's a really funny episode, if I remember correctly. It's episode 89, 59, 59, 89. It's a 9 in there. It's called Today is a Good Day to Cry. And by the end of the episode, they needed this song. They needed it in Klingons. One of the character goes, computer, no, in Klingon. And so then it's supposed to start playing. And we finished recording, and we're listening back, and I even recorded some backup vocals over it, and it was really funny, and but it sounded good. It was somebody in the room. I don't remember who it was. I don't remember if it was Chris Rathjen. I don't remember if it was Nick Wagner or if it was me. But somebody was like, we should make a music video. And so a couple weeks later, I was jumping around in front of a green screen, and then they put it up online, and we're figuring a handful of people, the people who like the podcast will watch it, and our friends will think it's funny, and that's about it. And then, but within 24 hours, it got picked up by the Mary Sue, and then from the Mary Sue, it was on all of these other blogs. We ended up on teamcoco.com, Conan O'Brien's website. It was just nuts, and people really liked it. That was the crazy thing, and to this day is still the crazy thing to me. It is overwhelmingly positive comments, overwhelmingly thumbs up over thumbs down, and we were and I'm sitting there wow, there might actually be something to this. Maybe there's something we can do with it. And it took another year or two, and then I did my first Kickstarter and released the first EP after I got some more translations. So, yeah.
Fantastic. I'm going to make sure all that gets put in the show notes, so if anybody wants to see it, they'll be able to track it down. But that's amazing. And now you have your own YouTube channel where you actually have, if anyone's not familiar, you're singing pop songs and you're translating them into Klingon, singing them in Klingon garb, and essentially making your own little character.
Yeah. Jenbom. The Jenbom Tai Tok Kul is the Klingon Pop Warrior, Commander Jenbom. Mm-hmm. In the song Bad Romance, at one point I actually say Jenbom Och La La, which means the commander of commanders is Jenbom. So Commander Jenbom, Jen actually, when I needed to create a Klingon name for when I was going to Keba and doing stuff with the Klingon Language Institute, I was like, oh, I guess I should have a Klingon name. And my real name is Jen. And so I was like, is there a Klingon word for it? Is there a Jen? And there was, and it's a verb. It means to be up high. And then bom is a noun and a verb. It's as a noun, it means song. As a verb, it means to sing. So Jenbom together is a poorly grammatically incorrect, but it's roughly translates to high song. And I thought, that's perfect. It's perfect.
It is. It's as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
Given the constraints of the Klingon language.
Right. Technically, there's no adjectives in Klingon. Everything is either a noun, verb, or chuve, which means like other stuff. And so when you're making verbs become adjectives, usually you put it after the noun. So it would, if I was saying high song, like actually saying like it is a high song, I would actually be saying bom jen och. So yeah, it's a little, I flipped it, it's backwards, but at least when people say Jen or Jenbom, I actually respond. So
well, now I have to ask, since you're really getting into the nitty gritty of the language and the mechanics, your background is theater. Are you classically trained?
I mean, I guess you could say so. Yeah, I went to school. I have a bachelor's. I have a BFA in theater and acting, and I did take voice lessons as well in high school. So I sang in all kinds of languages. I've been in choirs since I was like 9 years old, and sang in choirs all through college. But when I ended up going to school, I decided, I can sing, that's something I can do, but I had really gotten bitten by the acting bug. So I focused really solely on acting, and I kind of pushed singing aside when I went to college. And then I realized after I graduated college that if I sang in covers bands, I could actually make a little cash. And so I started singing in covers bands, and because I was doing karaoke, I had a friend who ran a karaoke business. So I was doing karaoke all the time and just spending money at bars on beer. So I was like, well, wait a minute. Hold on. I could be singing these songs with a real band and actually make money. So yeah, I started, that was how I started singing, and I was doing all kinds of popular music and stuff like that. And so, I mean, I do have a classical performance background in that regard. And yeah, I've sort of taken all of my loves and mushed them together, singing in foreign languages and acting, and all of it sort of slammed together into the Klingon Pop Warrior. So,
well, it's interesting. I just kind of wondered that because I don't know, since you're fairly new to the fandom, compared to some of the other people that we both know, the Star Trek people, when they create these shows, actually do seek out Shakespearean actors because the specific talents that they have for working with languages that are not that don't mesh well with modern English is something that translates very well into speaking Klingon and Romulan and even the technobabble. So I think it's very appropriate that you have that background there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mary Chieffo does Shakespearean, is a classically trained actress. I mean, it gives you I do think it grounds your performance. When you have that background and you can speak poetry. And it really does translate. And then when you're already used, like for me, I was used to singing in foreign languages. I'd been doing it for a while. So I didn't necessarily need to know what I was singing as long as I didn't need to be fluent in what I was singing to know what I was singing and to convey it. And so that's really translated over. And now I do know, I mean, I'm not by any means fluent in the language. I'm a beginner. I'm definitely a beginner. But even as a beginner, I know what I'm singing. And it's actually over the years, some of the songs that I've been doing since the beginning of the project, now I'm like, oh, I know exactly what I'm singing here. Like in my head, I'm actually like, instead of saying, my heart will go on, or singing Tach Tick Widge and not really understanding what I'm singing. I'm like, oh, my heart will go on. And I get it now.
So why these particular songs? What brought them up to be? Did they just sound good lyrically, or they're particular favorite songs of yours?
Honestly, it started as a joke.
Fair enough. That's a good way to start.
No, absolutely. I mean, the whole point of "Kiss Me" by Sixpence None the Richer in Klingon, that was a very specific choice made by an improviser for that. But it was so funny translated into Klingon. Chitop actually means bite me. There's no word for kiss in Klingon. So, yeah.
That is perfect.
Yeah, so chitop, when I'm singing chitop, it's actually bite me. And so, yeah. So there's that. And I actually kind of like the fact that I don't put my lyrics really out anywhere. And I kind of do that on purpose. There's some publishing things that I just, my goal is never to step on the toes of CBS Paramount. This is their IP at the end of the day. And, that's that. And I try very hard to be respectful of that. So there's that side of it. But also I like the fact that there's like maybe 40 people, if that, in the world who actually know what I'm singing when I'm singing it. And I kind of like having that inside joke with the fluent speakers. And then the people who want to learn, there are places you can find my lyrics, and so you can actually find them in the Klingon and then translate them back and see what I'm actually singing. Not all of it is filked, not all of it is parodied or some of it is very literally translated. But yeah, it's just a good. I don't know. I don't even remember what I was talking about that started this. So
That's quite all right. That's just the whole idea here. Is just to see where it goes.
Oh, the songs. But yeah, so it started with "Kiss Me," and so I was like, well, what other schmaltzy pop songs are out there? And so that was when I found out that there was the Britney Spears existed. That was translated by Chris Lipscomb, who was also one of the main Klingon translators for A Klingon Christmas Carol, and he's a member of the KLI, the Klingon Language Institute. And so he had translated "Baby One More Time," and someone else had been like, oh, I have this translation of Celine Dion. So that first CD actually was very much about found things. It was stuff that people had already translated that kind of fit with the silly, cheesy 90s pop songs. And then with what was really, really cool was after doing that first EP, with the next one, I was actually able to go to people and say, hey, I kind of want to sing this song. Would you be interested in translating this? And having the people that I had worked with on the first EP be excited about the idea of being like, yes, I'll translate that. Oh my gosh, I'll translate Kesha. And then getting those translations and having at that, now I'm able to create something new. And then with that second EP, I actually co-translated one of the songs on my second EP. I co-translated Shosh, which is Mother, by Danzig. And I actually just finished, I was at a convention in February and spent my time, I had a table and spent my time sitting at a table scribbling. And I've been working on No Scrubs by TLC. And I think I have a final translation that I have done that needs a pass by a grammarian who knows what the heck they're doing, to make sure that I didn't totally screw it up, because it seemed way too easy. By the time I was done, I'm like, that seemed way too easy. I must have really screwed this up. So a friend of mine will be hopefully we'll be getting together in the next week or two for him to go over that, because I think when Joe gets back from his vacation, we're gonna start doing some recording. So yeah. So
Excellent.
EP number 3 potentially is in the works. You heard it.
Well, I'm glad you're still at it, because this is too cool a project to let go. It really is.
At some point I'm going to be tired and I'm going to have to pass the mantle, but I feel like I've set a pretty good bar. I'm by no means the world's greatest vocalist, but I can hold my own, and I'm proud of what I can do. And so, when the day comes where I can't do it anymore, or am just too tired by it, then yeah, I hope that there will be someone that I can kind of trust to take over and maybe do some more and keep it going, because you're right, it is way too fun. It's so silly. I often get asked if I would do originals, but I think part of what's made it work so well is the fact that I'm doing stuff that people already know.
I completely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
the fact that I might not have any idea what you're saying, but I know the music. I know, and it's just funny. Then, I mean, now
Yeah.
I'm picturing it doesn't have to be just one or two people, you could have a Klingon Beatles. They could all come out with mop tops over the ridges, and that would be amazing. And okay, I want in on that if you ever do it. But didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
No. I mean, yeah, that's really kind of. I would love to have like a Klingon girl group, so I could do some like Destiny's Child and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just it's a really silly, fun thing, and I think in doing popular music, it manages to have more appeal outside of even just Star Trek fandom, and that's also important to me because it's a niche already. I don't need to be like limiting myself down to an even smaller niche. I want to be able to go to conventions and have it enjoyed by everybody who walks by, regardless of whether they're a Star Trek fan, regardless of whether they even know what a Klingon is. They're going to figure it out pretty quick. So
fantastic. So we met on the Star Trek cruise. What did you think of that?
Oh my God. We're going next year. We weren't going
Fantastic.
to. We weren't going to. And then, yeah, we ended up signing up before we got off the boat again. So
They get you.
They get you. I mean, they added a day next year. The Kate Mulgrew was a huge... Before I changed over my mannequin, or my dress form behind me into my Klingon uniform, it actually had my... I had built a Regency ball gown, but I called her Janeway Austen. So it's actually a Regency Voyager inspired ball gown. And then I have a red wig that I wear with it, and my little Voyager comm badge, and I carried a little tiny little silver coffee mug, and I had a dance card. I have a dance card as well, with Chakotay and the EMH.
Nice touch.
So thank you. And so, yeah, knowing that Kate Mulgrew is going to be on the cruise next year, the only way they could possibly make it better for me is if they get Mary Weissman. If they get Ensign Tilly, I will lose. Pardon my French, but I will lose my shit. Like,
I mean, we've only had Discovery for a year and some change, and it's not yet my favorite Trek, but it's eking its way up there in the pantheon slowly but steadily. And Tilly is my favorite character by far.
I know you can't see it right now, but I'm actually wearing my Laurel shirt that I got on the cruise this year, the Witatlach shirt. Let's see if people can see it.
I mean, the cruise is
Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I by the way, they are not sponsoring this. I'm just a satisfied fan. I am available, though, FYI.
I know. I've been trying. I have won the talent show now twice. 2 years in a row, I won the ship talent show. And I'm like, I do this at conventions. And crickets. Absolute crickets. I'm like, fine, I'll hustle that. I'll hustle that again. Like, bring it on. I got to stand, 6 feet away from Jason Isaacs this year. It was glorious. So yeah, I will absolutely hustle the Gorn Gong show again. But no, seriously, call me Star Trek Cruise.
So what projects are you working on aside from this? Is there anything else that you're doing on stage or on screen?
No, actually I've kind of pulled back a bunch. And I'm kind of taking it a little bit easy this year and focusing a little bit more. Honestly, not to be a dork about it, but I'm trying to focus a little bit more on my health.
That's important. Nobody else is going to do it.
Right. And I've been running myself kind of ragged the last couple of years. So yeah, I'm back to work full time. I had been in a very lucky position where I worked for Grubhub. Which now everybody knows, but when I started working there, nobody knew who we were. And so my husband and I both were working there, and so we took our stock money and we ran. And so I was very fortunate. I was able to take a little time off and from work and really just kind of live a little and do a lot of conventions. And but now I have to kind of I'm back to work full time, and I'm sort of dialing it in and reining it in and being like, okay, how do I do this whole work full time and still enjoy all the stuff that I enjoy thing?
It's not easy.
No.
That's what started this podcast here, is that the balance had to be struck.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually these next few weeks are a little bit busy for me. I'm doing I'll be manning because I also do Extra Life I've been doing Extra Life. This is my going to be my 5th year doing Extra Life, which is a 24-hour gaming marathon for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. And I am so passionate about it. It's so much fun. It's such a good cause. All the money that we raise goes straight to the hospitals. There's no overhead or anything like that. So I'm very excited and very passionate about it, and it's a really fun 24 hours. Really fun. I did some crazy stuff this past year.
I saw Extra Life the first year it came out. It was heavily promoted by the Sarcastic Gamer podcast, which I'm not even sure is still around anymore. And it was huge at the time, but compared to what it is now, it was tiny. And so, what have you seen the past few years?
Oh my gosh, the enthusiasm for it is, it's just great. Like I love the fact that I can use the Pop Warrior as a tool for something good. This is a fan at the heart of the Klingon Pop Warrior. It's a fan project. Like it's a labor of love. But if I can take the love for the Pop Warrior and turn that into something good and charitable and that helps and literally is helping save kids' lives, like that's just amazing to me. And so being able to do that and seeing just the crazy amounts of money that people raise for these hospitals, and then what the hospitals are able to go and do with that money, because it goes into their unrestricted funds. Like, I mean, the stuff that they're able to do, the equipment that they're able to buy, it's a truly unique experience. I'm actually going to be manning the Extra Life table at C2E2 this coming weekend. So Saturday and Sunday I'll be there. Unfortunately, I have been told that I will be unable to be in cosplay. So what they don't know is that I'm cosplaying as a Terran.
That is clever twist there.
So I'll just be me. But I will be there, at the Extra Life table all weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and then the weekend after, I'm actually running some gaming, that's helping out one of my fellow local Extra Lifers. They're doing a 72-hour gaming marathon at this huge gaming convention here in Chicago called Adepticon. So I'm going to be running a table for that. And just doing some open board gaming. It's generally a wargaming convention, so it's a lot of minis and stuff like that. So we're trying to pull. My husband and I are looking for some really fun games that are like have like some really cool minifigs and stuff like that. I found we've got Blood Rage, and we were gonna try to do Twilight Imperium, but I don't think anybody wants to spend 12 hours playing a single board game at a convention.
It's a fantastic game.
So good.
It is too much for me 99% of the time. I love it. I truly do. But, 12 hours for anything is a little much to ask for me.
Yeah, no matter what, it just doesn't seem to matter how many times you've played. Like, I do know people who play regularly, and so their games are actually short. But I'm like, I don't know what version of this game you're playing, because I've never played a version of that game that has not gone, like, started at 10 a.m. and not gone until, like, 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah. We were going to try to do that because we thought it would really fit into the theme of the marathon, but no, didn't have, it's not looking like it's going to happen. So we're going to try to do some shorter games and just do some open gaming. And I will be in costume for that, so.
Well, I think by the time this actually gets onto the podcast feed and YouTube, those events will have passed. But if somebody really wants to say thank you for doing these things and toss a little money toward the cause in your name, where could they do that?
So if you want to support Extra Life, I will also supply the links for the show notes. But it's extra-life.org/participant/Klingon Pop. And you can donate to Extra Life there. If I raise enough money I'm just going to game in my riches anyway. Originally, I was going to try to hit $470 before that event. But I always game in my riches for Extra Life stuff, so it's going to happen.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. And where can we find the rest of your material if somebody wants to just keep tabs on you on the internet?
Oh yeah, KlingonPopWarrior.com is my website, and I'm also, you can find my music on iTunes and Google and Amazon and Bandcamp. I'm on Bandcamp. You can also buy CDs, and I'll ship you CDs on Bandcamp. And I'm going to be putting up, I've got some really fun 8x10s, and I'm going to actually be putting those up on Bandcamp, and any money that I make off the 8x10s, I'm actually going to donate to Extra Life. So yeah, I've got one that's really, it's like me like singing. It's like a warrior yell, and I have one that I dubbed High School Batleth Club, and it's super delightful and posed.
Oh, before I let you go, did you happen to catch the Batleth scarf I sent you on when we were setting this up?
So true story, I actually, a friend of mine that I used to work with knit, and I saw that years ago, and I actually had her knit me one. It's hanging in my closet.
Nice, very nice.
I actually am wearing it. I'm wearing my little Klingon headband right now too. So
nice. Well, hey, let's wrap this up. But I really, really enjoyed this, and I would like to have you back anytime. Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely. I would love to come back. I love podcasts.